because of the way we use them in the tour and the way we use them when we're shared around so to make them easier to haul and move and that sort of thing. A few of the things that have been shrunk, if you will, from what the decorations book says, but they still have the same impact. Let's start with the main set up here for the worship rally for concrete and frames. That's right, when you stand in front of that. One of the things we shrunk were the cranes themselves, because the design in here calls for almost 2 feet taller. And in a room like this, that would be incredible. It would look really awesome, especially if these were on the floor, because they're already up off the floor. But we shrunk these to be slightly less than 8 feet in case someone needs to use them in a fellowship hall or somewhere that only has like an 8-foot ceiling. So it lowers the size a little bit, but you still get the same impact. The panels in the back, this year they offered I think they call it the Super Duper backdrop set. So it comes with 5 4-by-8-foot panels of sheets of printed on. It's incredibly heavy cardboard, not cardboard, but cardstock almost. So it's very easy to work with, it's very durable. It's not like a lot of the other posters that you typically get for a classroom setting. We took these and glued them on 4-by-8 sheets of foam board to make them easy to stand up. We don't want to stick them to the walls everywhere we go and to ship and move around. We used a spray adhesive that you can get at Lowe's or Menards or any of those places. You just want to, we used I'm trying to remember the brand. It's not, maybe it's 3M. I'll look it up and let you know. But it's, some adhesive will dissolve the foam board, so you kind of have to watch for that. So we already had some that we used for other things in my son's business, for putting headliners in and that sort of thing. So we knew that it worked and we tested it and it did not dissolve it. But another brand I had did dissolve it. So we wanted to use that. It's nice that it's heavy cardboard or heavy cardstock, because then when you want to roll it out to glue it, then it's a lot easier to manage. And it went incredibly well and incredibly fast. So that's 5 panels, which makes a beautiful backdrop. And it was so much easier than all the painting and all of that. Everything else, the towers themselves, the cranes are made out of foam board. The vertical towers are 2-inch foam board because they're standing up and they're taller. So to keep them straight, we use 2-inch. The cross pieces are 1/2-inch foam board with a 1x3 that's attached in the back. There's actually plywood behind the tower, so that if you walk around here you can see, but that's what gives us its strength. The I-beams laying on the floor, and these 2 I-beams are actually attached to that vertical plywood to give it strength and not tip over. Those are made out of 3/4-inch plywood. That's not an inexpensive thing to do. Fortunately, we had a lot of plywood left from some other sets from years and years ago, and productions and stuff that we did at our church. So I was able to just cut that up and recycle that, if you will. So we cut the strips out. We had our youth paint them the red color, and then using construction adhesive, glue them together and use an air nailer to nail, like finish nails, into the edges of the plywood to put them together, and they seem to work very well. The example in the book calls for about 4 more of these, but we didn't think that was really necessary for this particular use. But you can make as many or as few as you want. The little I-beam that's hanging from this crane is actually made out of foam board, because we didn't want something heavy up there trying to hang from that. And I guess you could, for decorations, you could make them all out of foam board. Would be an option, certainly, and probably a little cheaper. The pallet is actually made out of scraps of foam board that we had. The 3 cross braces at the bottom of the pallet were actually from Game On theme. They were part of a set from Game On, and they were already dark blue, so we just left them that way. The slats on the pallet are natural color. That was the color of the foam board. So we just used construction adhesive. It's actually a type that's friendly to foam board, and glued those on there. The boxes are empty. They don't necessarily look empty, but it makes a real neat presentation. I mean, that pretty much sums this up. As we go around the room on this side over here, this is, I can never remember which ones or which scene, but the bulldozer crafts, I think. In the book, the backdrop the backdrop for nearly all of these is very similar to the backdrop that's painted on the panels in the back wall. So it's like actually about a 5-panel backdrop. So we just took part of it, cut it on 1/2-inch foam board, painted it on, and then cut out part of the outline to give it that 3D effect. And the backdrop is just foam board that's painted to give a background, a sky kind of background. Clouds have been used in several different VBSs for different panels. Those could have been just painted on the panels as well. The bulldozer thingamajig is out of 2-inch foam board. It's actually cut out of, it won't all come out of one panel for that size. It takes part of the second panel. You cut the bottom out of one, and then the upright comes out of another panel. Right now, those are just stiffened with like 5-gallon paint stirrers on the back with tape. Gorilla tape is the best thing to use to stick the styrofoam together, the foam board. The rocks were just cut out of scrap pieces of foam board, and the youth painted those as well. So we utilized our youth a lot this year to paint a lot of things, the backdrops and such as that. The difference between that set and this one over here, as compared to the one in the back with the big backhoe-like thing, that is the missions backdrop. And instead of having the 3D set of buildings under construction in front, that one's just actually painted on the backdrop itself. From a distance, it looks really cool, so it turned out really well, I think. You don't get quite the 3D effect, but because we put it in that corner, we actually curved it a little bit, and that gives you more of a feeling of space and size. So that works a lot better. The same, all 3 machines were cut out of 2-inch foam board and then painted the way that you see them. Those are most of the colors that are recommended in the book. This one over here is made much the same way as the other two. The 2-inch foam board for the machine, the 3D part of the construction buildings is cut out the same way. Now, if you do some comparison, if you look at this for just a second, this particular construction scene is a mirror image of that construction scene over there. So it's really the same thing. We just flipped the image when we drew it on there. And somewhere, part of these are kind of embedded in that other image back there in the back, but that one was slightly different for missions. On the CD, the DVD, the CD portion of the DVD that's in the director's guide, the decorating guide, are all of these images. They're generated like slides. You can project them. We projected them with a data projector onto the foam board so that we could draw where all the lines needed to be painted, that sort of thing. You can print them off on a transparency if you want to use a overhead projector, which in some ways is better than a data projector. It's a little easier to line up and position. In fact, this was the first year that I used the data projector, and it was a little more trouble than using the old-fashioned transparencies, but both work. But that allows you to flip them, twist them, whatever, to line them up with whatever you're drawing on. And you can size them by zooming in or out for the way you are, so just like a video or whatever. One thing I would caution you if you're wanting to build one of these, when you look at those drawings that they have to show you what the machine looks like, for instance, there's a lot of detail drawn on the black and white drawing that's not shown when you paint them. So whoever designed the thing in the drawing weren't the same people that painted them for the decorating guide. And so they did not do all of the same details, all the little lines and their few little gadgets that were just way too difficult to try to paint on the set. So I think these turned out really cool and they look really neat. So you don't really need all that detail. So if you're wanting to do that tracing, I spent forever tracing one of these. I forget which one it was. I think it was the bulldozer one. And then when I got out the printing, the color copy to start painting it, I was like, well, I didn't even need that line. And those 7 lines that took 20 minutes to draw on there weren't necessary either. So if you kind of pay attention, you can save yourself some time. As always, we use a lot of this is reused stuff. You can see the stone that's underneath that bulldozer thing. That's from the mountain last year. So we used that same piece of foam board, turned it on its side, and made a bulldozer out of it. So we keep doing that a lot. If you look on the backs of these, you can see where one year it was the galactic star bears on one of the panels, and we just keep flipping them over and painting them. They get heavier with all that paint, but they're less likely to break. Then we enhanced all of these decorations that come in the book with some other little things. One is this construction fencing. This is sold like at Lowe's or Home Depot or Menards, anywhere from $24 to $30 for 100 feet of it. One of the training sessions that I went to at Ridgecrest, the lady suggested that when you're doing your classroom, regardless of which classroom it is, whether it's crafts or whatever, there's always stuff in a Sunday school classroom or wherever you're using that have nothing to do with VBS. Yep. And you really don't want the kids getting into it. Well, then throw some construction fencing in front of them. And then it becomes part of the theme. You know, stay out, this is dangerous stuff, or whatever. You put caution signs. There's a roll of vinyl tape over there that they sell at all these places that says danger or keep out or caution. So you can do things like that. You can go a tarp over it and some of this around it. It looks like a big rock, whatever. So use your imagination. Little things like that really add a lot, and there's no work to it at all. And it's relatively inexpensive. We have a lot of these cones sitting around here. Actually, we have 24 of them because I bought a case of them. I found them at Dollar Tree. Actually, dollartree.com or whatever it is. $1 a piece. So we got 24 of these cones, and they're kind of hard plastic, but they work really well for this particular type of setting. They're nice and big. They're not those little bitty 6-inch ones I think you get from Oriental Trading. So $1 a piece. I ordered them online. I bought a case for $24, and bam, so we have 24 of them. That's awesome. Construction fencing that. The cranes on the tables that we use for decorations, we actually bought through online at Walmart. Last November when we bought them, they were $12. Now they've gone up to $19 because I think they found out that everybody's doing construction cranes. But still, for $19, and there's a bunch of little pieces that come with them. So for an individual classroom or a registration desk or something like that, it's really pretty cool. There's little trucks and rocks and signs and stuff that you can put on the table around it. We just didn't put them out. But that's pretty cool. I saw a couple on eBay for like $10 that were in new boxes. So they may be gone by the end of the day. Somebody here may purchase them. But you can look out there, they're put them on sale. So that's a neat decoration. And then you can give it to your grandkids or something. Seemed like there was something else I wanted to mention. Oh, from LIfeway, you can order these little barrier things. They're cardboard. It takes about 20 minutes to put one together. The instructions are not helpful at all. It just shows a picture of one that says this is the cross member, and this is part A, and that's part B. That's all it says. But if you use your imagination, you just fold them up. They're sort of like cardboard boxes or something that you would fold up in the middle. They're fairly sturdy. They come with a little sign that you can stick on there that says something about concrete and cranes. I know one of the classes upstairs, she's got one, I think, in the hall with it looks like a caution sign that says right turn only or something to turn into the room, so that could be handy to direct kids or people in your building to where you're going. These could also be made out of foam board pretty easily. Some foam board, some duct tape, and roll some latex paint on there. It works really well. We're wearing these vests. These are not from LIfeway. We ordered them from, I think these came from Uline. There are several companies that make all kinds of vests. Anybody that does t-shirt printing and logos and that sort of thing, our son put these on the pockets. So it's vinyl that keeps heat pressed on, so that can be easily done. Other little things like that, tool belts, all of that kind of gear for decoration and for the t-shirts. We also, as in the past, we're doing the sign-ups for lending out all of the decorations. And I think Christy mentioned this morning that our goal this year is to make another set of sets, to have that many more to distribute and share around. Now, we may split this one up a little bit. We'll probably make another one of these, and then maybe one more machine, and then have two machines in one trailer and two in another, to be able to serve that many more churches. So we have a sign-up sheet. Sheet has a calendar to sign up if you want to borrow one, if a week that's taken, or not. If you're one of the people that wants to borrow one, we would appreciate you volunteering on another list to be able to come to maybe a work day that we're going to organize in Jeff City. They have a warehouse-like thing that we can use, and we'll work on prepping some of this stuff so then we can just come and have a big paint party or cut stuff out and paint it or whatever and build the rest of that set. Many hands make quick work, so that works a lot better, would work a lot better. I also want to remind, any questions about the decorations at this point? I mean, they're really pretty straightforward this year. A couple of things we didn't do that just popped in my head. In the decorations book, they took a couple of trash cans, inexpensive trash cans from Home Depot or somewhere, turned them upside down. They painted them orange and put some white stripes or reflective tape around them that make it look like those caution barrels that you see along the highways. Depending on your town, you may have some construction companies that would loan you some for your week of vacation. Some barriers, some tape, even construction fencing. I found that most construction companies, when they put this fencing up, when the job's done, they throw it away. They really, I'm not even sure they're supposed to reuse it. There are a lot of weird regulations about that. But it's so inexpensive to them, it's not worth rolling up and trying to haul it to the next site or anything like that. So a lot of times you can find somewhere where they're burying cable or something like that, and they dig a pit and then they fill it in the next day, but in the meantime they've wrapped that around there. Well, they're going to throw it away, so you can stop and say, hey guys, would you text me when you're ready to throw this away and I'll come get it. All right, even though it is inexpensive, that's a real easy way to come up with something. What else? Is there anything else? Just a reminder about the sign up for the Stewards of Children. Free training.
Child abuse prevention.
Pardon?
Child abuse prevention.
For the child abuse prevention. So this sign up is back there on the table. Take advantage of this. This is great training and great education for a lot of our workers, how to recognize and deal with potential child abuse.